Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Arnold Nerenberg, licensed to practice clinical psychology in the state of California since 1974. Been in the field for over 50 years. And I like to say I've been licensed to walk upon this earth since 1941. I'm happy to say I'm over 82 years of age now, and I'm really happy to still be here with you. Hope to be here a long time to be able to bring to you insights and lessons and inspirations of a lifetime with the intention of uplifting you and your loved ones for the rest of your lives. That's truly my intention. That is my intention. The title of today's presentation is Followers of all religions can achieve mutual respect and cooperation with one another and with non-believers as well. Followers of all the major religions can achieve mutual respect and cooperation with each other and with non-believers as well. You have people in so many different religions: Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, Baha'i, Islam, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism. They're major religions. Wonderful religions, each one. Beautiful. With so much to offer. And people being very sincere in their beliefs, really trying to do good, trying to bring goodness into the world. And then you have people who are non-believers, don't believe in God or any kind of divine nature, just feel we're just a material nature. And they're sincere about that. They feel, well, this is really, there is nothing other than what we are physically, materially. And that's their sincere thought. Now, even though this is very genuine on people's parts, and even though they want to do good and not fool or delude themselves, there are a lot of issues that go on with the divisions between the people of different religions and between believer and non-believer, and for that matter, of any philosophical or political orientation. A tremendous divide at this time in 2023 in America between Republicans and Democrats. Huge divide. But even they can be able to work together with respect and mutual cooperation with the solution I'm going to give today. Let's look a little bit at the problem, then we'll go into the solution. So let's look at the difference between a believer and a non-believer. Someone who believes we have a divine nature, and those that say this is all we are, material. The material person, what you see is it. When we die, that's the end of us. We no longer exist in any form. We're not eternal souls. We're just a body. Boom. You bury the body, it's all over. It's nothing. So the non-believer will say, well, to the believer, you're just deluding yourself. You can't accept that you're not going to go on. It's a delusion you have. I believe in the divine nature and God. You can't see Him. How could there be all this suffering in the world if there was a God, a divine nature? It doesn't exist. And when you say that, typically when people have that kind of view, they also feel that you got to be a little bit stupid to be a believer. That goes on, so they feel maybe some superiority. On the other hand, the believer looks at the non-believer and says, this guy is just arrogant. He wants to think that he's God himself. He's denying all the manifestations of God's signs that are here, all the beauty and the trees and the perfect order of everything, as signs of that there is a creator. This person is surely in denial of his spiritual reality, and he's going to suffer because of that. If not only in this life, but after death, he will suffer as well. And being just human beings, the feeling, well, we're better than him. This guy is lost. That goes with this. Once you start saying, I'm right, you're wrong, my way is the right way, your way is the wrong way, it's only natural for most people to say, therefore, I'm higher than you, I'm better than you, I'm superior than you. There's some kind of a pride, spiritual pride, arrogance, go with that. And that's a divide. That's there. I'm saying even with that, we can have mutual respect. And we'll talk about how that can be achieved. But that's there. Then you have people in different religions who are very sincere, wanting to do good, have done much good, and will continue to do much good. At the same time, in the name of religion, people have been slaughtered, murdered in mass numbers throughout history. That which was intended to bring good, a certain percentage of the people that hijacked and just did horrible atrocities in the name of that religion. And furthermore, the person will say, my religion is the right one, yours is the wrong, mine is better, yours is... You're a devil worshiper. You don't follow this, you're going to go to hell. I mean, that's a pretty common thing in most religions. Not in all, but that's kind of a thought that goes on. If your way is wrong. Maybe it goes as far as your way is evil. So you have people who really aspiring to do good things, to be good people, having this view towards people of different religions, and a certain kind of arrogance, a spiritual arrogance that's very common. Just being humans, a human foible to pride, that happens. Even though within every spiritual approach, pride is forbidden. So, humility is always prized in any spiritual approach. Humility. And yet, people become very arrogant, puffed up, haughty, arrogant, and prideful. We've got, obviously, the co-religious will say, our approach is so much better. Look at these people. The best they might say is, well, they're trying to do good, but they're not like us. Very common. I'm not saying it's in all the religions, that everybody has that, but that's a very common divide that goes along with it. Very, very common, more common than not. And then, of course, philosophically, Republicans and Democrats, I mean, that divide on issues pro-life, pro-choice. These are very, very big issues. So many other issues that go on. Just to give you one major issue that divides the political parties. And certainly I'm not here to comment on any particular issue or any particular religion or philosophy. I'm just talking about common issues of divisiveness. Common issues of divisiveness. Across the board. Believer, non-believer, political parties, different religions. But I say this with all sincerity to you. It is possible for right across the board of all of these, the major religions and the political parties, believer, non-believer, philosophical approaches, to have mutual respect and cooperation. Now, certainly doesn't mean all the people will want to come together this way. Some people think, well, these people, I don't want to get together with them because they're so problematic. I'm just best to stay, I wish them well and just stay away from them. That's there. But for most reasonable people, and you have reasonable people of that camp as well, say, no, these people are really dangerous. We have to stay away from them, whatever. They don't really want to talk to them. But most reasonable people will say, well, we'll welcome the opportunity to find a way towards unity, mutual respect, and cooperation. So let me give you an example of mutual cooperation. I can't say there's respect, but mutual cooperation. At this time, between Israel and the Palestinians, a tremendous divide. The political leaders don't get along. The religious leaders of the two sides don't get along. Who does get along? Well, for one group that are thieves. The Jewish thief in Israel steals the Mercedes. His Arab partner sells the Mercedes to in one of the Arab nations. So the thief might say, look, I don't like your religion. I don't like your race. I don't even like you. But we can do business together. I'll steal the car, you sell it, and split the profits. So the thieves have a common denominator. We can do some business. So business can be a common denominator, not just between thieves, but between us. But thieves especially say, well, I don't really care about it. I'm going to do business because it's more important to me to make this money than worry about what religion you are. Just to give you an example, and many other examples that could be taken, but that's one that's a true example, and it illustrates a point. I would say that each religion, each political party, each philosophical approach is going to stay what it is. You're not going to talk, for the most part, you're not going to talk people change their religion, change their political party. It can happen. It does happen. For the most part, it's not going to happen. A person's going to stay a member of that religion all his life, or all her life. A person's going to stay in that political party, most likely all their lives. At some point, they may switch. People do. But you're not going to sit there and have a conversation. A person go, oh, you're right. I'm going to convert to your religion. Oh, you're right. I'm going to give up my party. I'm going to come into your political party. I was a non-believer, but now you've just proven to me I believe in God. Let me tell you, there are people certainly more intelligent than me that have written books proving that God doesn't exist. And there's certainly people more intelligent than me who prove that God does exist. Who reads those books? Who reads the book that God doesn't exist? Mostly it's non-believers to reinforce their position. Somebody who's a believer is not going to change them, for the most part won't do it. Who's going to read the book that God exists? It's mostly likely going to be believers. Non-believer doesn't even want to look at it. If he does believe it, he's not all of a sudden become a believer. So it's pretty entrenched. There's some movement across the different groups, people joining different religions, whatever. So this has been the way it's always been. It's the way it is now. And so what I'm offering is an auxiliary code. So the person would have, if you're a Christian, you'd have this code, plus a Christian. If you're Muslim, you have this code, plus being a Muslim. Or if you're a Republican, a Democrat, you still be that with this code. So the code I'm talking about is a code of honor. A code of honor. So that the person can say, look, I think you're going to hell, you've got the wrong religion. But you know what? We're both disciples of honor. We follow the way of honor. Even though I think you're going to hell, you have the wrong religion. Let's go out for pizza. Let's go out for dinner and go out for dinner because we are brothers in honor. We are sisters in honor. So we have that. We have that brotherhood, that sisterhood in honor. Not within our religion, not within our political party, not within our religious or philosophical orientation. Let's go out for dinner. We're brothers and sisters. Yeah. You can't even say we're all children of God because non-believers say there is no God. So don't talk to me about being all children of God. He's going, we're brothers and sisters in honor. We subscribe to this code. And I'm going to talk about a code of honor that really any reasonable person within any political party or religion would not disagree with. So I'm defining honor as loyalty to your highest constructive values as enshrined in what I call the 4 commandments of honor, while striving to cause no harm physically and emotionally. And the 4 commandments of honor, and I call them commandments because honor already exists within us, and by reciting the commandments of honor, we're commanding it to honor that's already within us, to arise in the consciousness, to be expressed in thought, word, and action. 4 commandments of honor are these. I wish you well. Any reasonable person with any of the major world religions or political parties can find something within their approach to support that, something from their scriptures or their way of life. Any reasonable person is going to accept that. The 2nd commandment of honor, I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problem. every religion has that, where you're getting away from blaming. Blaming is condemned in all religions. And certainly any reasonable person could see, yeah, I did co-create the problem. I'm not just a victim. You might have started it, but I could see how I got into it with you, so I'm co-creating it. Well, you get agreement with reasonable people. 3, I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. All reasonable people will agree, yeah, I'm the man I am today. I'm the woman I am today for the hardship, the setbacks, the failures, the losses made me stronger and wiser, more compassionate. Yes, I agree with that commandment as part of my code of honor. Absolutely. And the 4th one depends whether we believe in God or not. For those who believe in God, it's God, your wish is my only wish. So it could be, no matter what religion you are, you don't have to use the word God. You could use my higher nature. I just wish, whatever the wish of my higher nature is, whatever the wish of Jesus is, you can say, yeah, that makes sense to say that's my only wish. The highest aspiration is to serve that. For those who don't believe in God, they seek always to serve my highest value. So for somebody who does believe in God, the highest value is God. For that person, it's going to be other virtues and positive qualities. So it's either God, your wish is my only wish, or I seek always to serve my highest values. So the 4 commandments of honor. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. Grateful for the power I gained from hardship. For the believer, God, your wish is my only wish. For the non-believer, I seek always to serve my highest values. Then to become a follower, a one who walks the way of honor, what we call a disciple of honor, it's good to take the pledge. So it's a lifetime commitment to this, because people have a lifetime commitment to their religions, and whatever their way of life is. It's usually an unspoken lifetime commitment. So here's the pledge. As a disciple of honor, I pledge myself for all the days of my life to the 4 commandments of honor. And I'll teach them to those I love. I'll repeat them every morning, afternoon, and evening, and listen to myself recite them. Well, it's a lifetime commitment. So as an auxiliary code, this person of a different religion or non-religion or political persuasion is saying, says that 3 times a day, as you do. Because they've adopted that code of honor. So, they're your brothers in honor, your sisters in honor, as an auxiliary. It doesn't replace whatever system they have. They're still, whatever religion, whatever political party, that's intact. But this is something in addition, an auxiliary code to whatever approach you now adopt or believe in or adhere to. By no means meant to be a substitute or replacement. So there's the religion or the philosophical, political orientation, and being a disciple of honor, subscribing to the code of honor. So this person is reciting those commandments of honor, as you do. And then you have the bridge, which is, I call it the bridge because it's the bridge between honor and reality, which is what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do. So a person says the 4 commandments of honor and then repeats the bridge. And in any situation we're in, we then ask that question, what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? And the idea being the repetition is preparation for application to promote internalization, stabilization, and normalization. This person been through that same philosophical, psychological, spiritual orientation as you have. That's an overlap. And that contradicts no approach of any reasonable person following one of the world's major religions or major philosophical systems or major political systems. Doesn't contradict any of them. So this is the way, again, he could say, I think you're lost, going to hell, you worship the devil, but you're a disciple of honor like I am. You're my brother in honor, my sister in honor. Let's go out for some dinner. still having all that other divisive thought, but you also have a unific thought. This is the unifying factor right across all that kind of arrogance, dismissal of the other. But each of you has an understanding. We don't agree on some really fundamental things in life, but by gosh, that person believes in honor as I do. It's a lot. It's a lot. And that way we can achieve mutual respect and cooperation. I don't really like this guy's religion, or I don't like that this guy's an atheist. I don't like this guy's political party, but you know what? He's an honorable man. She's an honorable woman. I can see that. Oh, that's big time. That's huge over what's going on now. Huge. So that's the suggestion of how the followers of all religions, believer and non-believer, and members of any philosophical or political parties could achieve mutual respect and cooperation. So I'll open it to any comments or questions. Christy, any comments or questions that you might have?
I grew up, my grandmother always said there are 3 things in social circles that you don't discuss because they are contentious in nature: religion, politics, and age. And so I think today, as we hear messages about being more inclusive of people that are different, I think it helps to, bridge the gaps of understanding people that don't necessarily believe the same way that we believe. And, I was raised Catholic and, Christian home. And, I still follow that way. But as I've gotten older, I have had this, need to have the knowledge about other religions and other cultures and understand it, understand those things, because I think, it's easy to stay in our little bubbles, but it's a lot better when we open ourselves up to influence of others in a good way, and also how we can influence those people as well. And I think that the honor movement is, very much, a big part of that. So,
I would say this. Firstly, thank you always, Christy. You have such wonderful input. I really respect you and value your input enormously. And, even when people don't talk about religion or politics, they know this is a Democrat I'm sitting next to, or this person's a different religion than I am. They're all going to hell. You may not be saying it, but it's already divisive. Or there may be a discussion may come up, but it doesn't have to. This is going on. But if you know that person, and that's divisive inwardly, having thoughts or, feeling of otherness. Whereas if you say, well, but this person also follows the way of honor, and it's something you can talk about. It's very hard to talk to people about religion, understood. Sometimes you can, but usually it's pretty tough. So your grandmother gave you very good advice. But we've interviewed 5,000 people on the streets. Everybody's wanting to talk about honor. Everybody. You could go up to anybody from any religion, any political party, say, what is honor to you? And you'll listen and say some really interesting things. And you could share a conversation about honor. And they say, and I'm a disciple. Well, oh, you're a disciple. Well, wow, we both follow the honor code. Well, they'll talk to you about honor. Believe me, your grandmother would agree with that. She'll say, don't do that with politics, religion, age. Although age, I don't think is a bigger factor now, but politics and religion. But I'm sure your grandmother would agree. You could talk to people what they think honor is, what it is to them. It could be done with a total stranger, because the interviews that we did were on the streets, just people as they were walking by on the streets and doing surveys with them. And 70% said they'd like to have more honor in their lives. They felt if there's more honor in the world, there'd be more peace and happiness in the world. So people already have a very positive regard. And that wasn't even defining what honor is, just asking a question. So it will lead to more meaningful conversation. But, the different groups would have to say, yeah, we're willing to adopt an auxiliary code. It's sort of like having an auxiliary language. This has been suggested by much greater thinkers than myself. Having your native tongue that you speak and an auxiliary language that we can all speak. So everyone only needs to know two languages: your native tongue and then the second language. Esperanto was once created to do that, but it's not taking hold. But it looks like English is taking that spot of the second universal language, but it's not been officially one picked yet. But so this would be the same idea. You have your philosophy, your political orientation, your religious and non-religious orientation, but then you have an auxiliary code of honor. That's kind of the universal language they can speak about honor.
I think honor applies to every religion, every sort of political affiliation, every denomination, and I think that that's why it is just so universal. And I think regardless of what who you pray to, what religion you come from, what your political affiliation is, I think at the heart of it is, honor, and honor stems from, the way that you treat yourself and treat others.
Well, and then you have one of the laws of honor. So in addition to subscribing to the commandments of honor and the bridge, there's one law of honor, because there's 25 laws of honor. One of them, extreme respect always. So they'll be reciting that throughout the day, extreme respect always. Because even what's honorable, people of different persuasions may have a very different idea of what's honorable in a situation. A lot of times there'll be agreement, but there can be quite a disagreement about what's honorable. But whatever it is, they all subscribe to extreme respect always. So they're going to deal with the person very respectfully. They're at least committed as a principle. Again, like in any system, people won't live at 100%, but it's a basis for camaraderie, for brotherhood, for sisterhood, in some way of crossing the barriers of the differences, knowing that within any religion, there's big disagreements between people about what Scripture means. Right. So naturally, the same things, and within any political party, there's a big difference between what's the best thing to do. So it's going to be within honor too. There's going to be some disagreement. What is the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? But at least that's the question that's being asked. And a lot of times there'll be agreement, but sometimes there'll be disagreement, like there is in any religious group or philosophical or political group. Thank you, Christy. That was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say also, and sometimes if there are disagreements, it's okay just to put a period at the end of it and say, well, let's just agree to disagree.
We agree to disagree. You're following the way of honor as I am. Let's go get a pizza.
Yeah, I like it.
Your whole family's going to hell. You're going the wrong way, but you're following the way of honor. Let's get a pizza.
That sounds good.
Put it aside. But there's still that other area of disagreement, but there's some way of coming together. Right now, there's not.
Right.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you so much, Chris. You really helped. Your comments and what it stimulates in me helps to really clarify give more fullness to the whole approach.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now we have Kimberly and Stacy. Kimberly, what are your thoughts on this?
I completely agree with what you say. Just kind of living in the way of honor. I've always respected other people from other religions. I've never really, I also grew up in a Catholic home. I'm still Catholic, and I love my religion, but I respect everyone else's. And unfortunately, some people do not, because even like at work, people would just start, like, oh, well, why do Catholics do this? And I'm like, I just look at them and I'm like, my face just turns red, and they know I'm like, stop, just don't even go there, because what's the point? You know what I mean? If it's what makes you happy. My dad, he's actually from a different religion called SRF or something.
Oh, Self-Realization Fellowship, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he always wants me to convert, but I'm like, no, you have your religion. I guess that's what you needed to find peace, because he went through some very hardships in his life, and he's been through so much, and he's like, oh, when I found that religion, it's changed my life. And I'm like, well, good for you.
Yeah, it's a sect of Hinduism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and he fully, completely believes in it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. No, 100%. I respect
So
your religion.
imagine it with your father if he says, "Well, why don't you be SRF?" And you say, "Well, Dad, we have a disagreement on that. I'm happy as a Catholic. I believe in my religion. I love my religion. But Dad, but we're both disciples of honor. We have the way of honor together. That's a lot, isn't it, Dad? And that's the meeting ground."
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I will definitely use that because he always tries to, throw in little like, hey, you should just convert. And I'm
Well,
like,
listen, that's really that's not going to stop. People are going to be constantly trying to convince the other uh, or convert them. But in addition to that, we'll say, well, come on. I know you want me to be this religion like you are, but come on. We both recite the commandments of honor. Both brother, we're an honor family. We both recite the commandments, the bridge, the law of respect. We have that at least. Let's have a cup of coffee and get on with our day. Or let's talk about honor. Well, we can't agree on this, but we do agree on our auxiliary code.
absolutely, doctor. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I agree with
yeah,
you on that.
yeah.
Thank
Um,
you. Absolutely.
I mean, there are families that if a person converts to another religion, that they're ostracized. You're an outsider now. You betrayed the family heritage. That goes on. So, well, the person left the religion, but they're still following the way of honor as we are. So we still have that. So there's still that connection, respect. We're still family because it's still. I can't see somebody renouncing the way of honor. Say, oh, I'm no longer following the way of honor. I'm going to follow, whatever. It's less likely to ever happen.
Yeah,
It's less likely for
exactly.
somebody to renounce their way of honor. It's less likely. It's possible, but highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to convert to dishonor. I'm an honorable man. I want to convert to the way of dishonor. I mean, it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good, Kimberly. Thank you.
Thank you,
Very, very
doctor.
good. Stacy, I know you haven't been feeling well, but is it, but you always have such wonderful input. Is there anything you'd like to say or ask at this time, Stacy?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I wrote a couple points down that kind of just triggered when you were speaking. So, yeah, I think the honor movement is definitely a cross cultural language. It's just something that exists
Wow,
in a
that's a good
person.
point. That's a universal language, the language of honor. Wow, beautiful.
It is. It's a universal language, the language of honor. And it's funny when you said there should be a universal language or they're working on it, but they haven't picked one. I thought, gosh, it'd be so great if it was nonverbal communication, like demonstrative and versus speaking, because there's a lot to be said about honor and not speaking, right, and just being more demonstrative in your action. Anyways, I know that would be very hard for most people, but
Well,
if
certainly
everyone
actions
could
more important.
practice.
Words are important, and actions even more important. But it's universal. Uh, Now, there's been perversions in the name of honor killings and whatnot, but I'm defining honor as loyalty to your highest constructive values as enshrined in the four commandments of honor, while striving to cause no harm physically and emotionally. So that excludes honor killings. Yeah, but please
I love
continue,
that.
continue.
Yeah, and then the other thing too, when it comes to different religions or politics or all these concepts that we each are entitled to experience differently and also think about differently is that we're all, you're right, at the end of the day, humans having a human experience, and my experience is different from yours, and my upbringing is different from yours, and so it's okay that our human experience is different, and at the core I think most people want the same things, and at the core I think most people are good people, but we just have different experiences, so I what did I want to
Well,
say? Oh yeah,
yeah,
and
go ahead, please.
well, I mean, you could be, the most religious person or godly person, and not be a good person. I mean, that exists
Happens
too.
from all religions. The word hypocrites is very commonly used. Yeah, absolutely.
So common. Yeah, and just like you, I'm a big lover and studier of all religions and lots of different, thoughts, forms, and there's so much beauty in all of it, and there's so much to be gained from all of it. And it really doesn't, the words, I think words sometimes are such a distraction because they're just interpreted differently from one person to the next. And now in this world, we change what the words mean. So forget what they originally meant. I mean, sometimes I can't even keep up with the words anymore because it's like it means something different today,
Well, these things, the differences, there are definitely overlaps between all the major religions, definitely a lot of overlap. All teach love of humanity and a love of the divine nature, love of God. Then within it, but then there's other things that can be used a lot of times from scripture to justify opposite of that. And that's why we've had so many wars over the centuries in the name of religion. And that's all the ways what people have made of the religions for money, power, misunderstanding, whatever. That's there and it'll always be there. Always has been. What we have now is a way of a point of agreement that we're aspiring to follow the way of honor. And we follow the same teachings of those four principles, the bridge and the law of respect, extreme respect always. That's a huge bonding, a huge statement of values of believer and non-believer, and whatever religion the person is. For reasonable people, we have some people who are not necessarily reasonable or well-intentioned, but for reasonable intention, decent people, not going to have a problem with that. They're going to adopt it. So this auxiliary code, so offering that for all the groups to consider. And I'm sure whatever the orientation is, they can find scripture and philosophical concepts that will endorse, say we can include this because it doesn't contradict our teachings or our philosophy. It doesn't contradict any.
I love that.
Yeah. But thank you, Stacy, for your wonderful input as always, and your energy, the energy you put into your speech when you're speaking as well.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Stacy.
so much. No, I wanted, there was one more point, and I kind of, my cognition is still gaining momentum, but, that's what I wanted to say. It's funny because the last year or two, I would say I've met more agnostic or atheist people than I have in a very long time, and I'm very spiritual. I mean, I really just guide and judge and do my life always with that front and center. So it's just interesting to come across, right, so many people that are either non-believers but what I wanted to share on that is that, and a lot of them were a similar demographic, but what I found, and this is just an observation, is that sometimes some people come from cultures where religion was pushed on them so much, and in the name of that religion, so much bad happened that, in fact, they become godless just because of their upbringing. But truly, they're some of the most spiritual people I've met, and they're so gifted with beautiful, honorable, loving hearts. They just may be got a little lost from their own honor and God because of what they grew up in.
Well, sometimes we have to go really down before we can really rise high. We have to for some, have to go through a lot of degradation before they realize what enlightenment and honor is, what godliness is. They have to go into the depths of wrongness to rise up. That wrongness could be a great thing for inspiring rightness. As my father said to me, he said, son, I have a lot of good advice to give you, not because I've been so smart, it's just I've been so stupid. And so the stupidity that we've all had, certainly I've had my share of great stupidity. And I always tell my patients, that's one of my credentials to help you, is my own stupidity. So we go down, we make these mistakes, and we say, you know what? I see where that goes. I'm done. I'm going to go this path now. those are all great points. Great points. Wonderful as always, Stacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure to present followers of all religions can achieve mutual respect and cooperation with one another and with non-believers as well. It's been truly a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here with you.
The sea of destiny is in your deepest struggle. God's will and mine be one, and I wish you well. You are co-creator, respectfully real. There's a way in the valley that turns weakness to steel. We're known through all eternity. From strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow. I pledge my love all the days of my life. I pledge my soul to all that is good. I pledge my heart to my brothers and sisters who I join in the light, leave a legacy of honor. We're known through all eternity. From strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow.